What is going on, YouTube world? Gavin Peacock here, Flip Society. As usual, we have our side entertainment. You can just tune in to watch that, or you can try to listen to me. First question I want to pose with you guys is, what are you watching this video on? Is it a TV? Is it your computer screen? Is it your mobile phone? And at what resolution? 1080, or is it at 4K or 2.7K? Do you own a 4K viewing monitor, TV, phone, or computer screen? Ponder that before we get into the whole 4K battle of action cameras and resolutions. Okay, second question to ponder. If I showed you any random clip from an action camera like this one, or maybe like this one, could you tell me without knowing any info what camera that came from? Ponder that. Okay, so this video begins with an email from Yi sending me their 4K plus action camera. It was awesome. I was thinking, great, we're gonna be able to compare this against the top GoPros. 4K 60 frames per second. That's what it said on the shipping label when it got here. But when I opened the box, I only got the Discovery model, which is a very low 8 megapixels in terms of today's industry and what most cameras are using, 12s, 16s, or 20s. I don't have to do an unboxing for you guys. You get the point. It's a box. There's a camera inside. There's a manual. There's a charging cable. And there's some other pieces of paper, maybe a sticker, and a battery included. So after a slight disappointment of not getting their top line camera and only getting this crazy cheap $80 model, I kind of started to think about the most common question I got on the YouTube channel is, what should my first camera be starting off owning an action camera? You could be a parent who want to buy this for your kid that's begging for it. Assume you have zero skill and you're just starting out. Why would it be so important to buy the highest model camera when maybe, potentially, we'll see this guy can do just as well if you're first? Don't get me wrong, I'm a lover of GoPros. You know, I did the Russian swing video with them. I think I've gone through 12 total GoPros in my ownings. And after owning 12 GoPros, I can think of at least 6 that I've had destroyed or lost. And when you think of the burden of a $300 to $700 camera being lost, some of these from amateur moves, the burden on a parent or yourself buying these wouldn't be so bad if, oh, I lost 80 bucks versus there goes $300 to the bottom of the lake. Listing off the GoPros I've lost. Lost one in a pier. We lost one going full speed off a boat. Suction cup failed. Smashed one in a obstacle course race. Quadcopter took one for a drink in the lake. Dunked it to the bottom. See you later. And when surfing in Nova Scotia, another big wave ripped the suction cup off the board, and see you later. So, add up that cost versus if I had only been using this guy starting off. These are all a bunch of years ago now. The burden wouldn't be so bad. You get my point. I, for this video, compared this to the Hero 4 Black and the Hero 5 Session. No Hero 6 Black, you ask? That camera is swirling around in an ocean tide somewhere in Sri Lanka due to the rogue wave. So rest in peace, Hero 6 for now until I get another one. This guy's stats, this is only 20 frames per second in 4K, so I figured that's not really great anyway. So let's step down to this next best option, and it offers 2.7K 1440p at 30 frames per second, which both of these cameras do as well. And then they all do 1080p 60 frames per second, which is one of my favorite modes to shoot in. So I use video to compare for that, and still photo mode, which is 16 megapixels at least on all of these guys. So it's just a quick comparison. I don't want to talk too much when I show you that footage, just going to get this over quick. But let's do some stats on what this little guy offers. Okay, your little Yi 4K Discovery Cam. It's got the 8 megapixel sensor, which actually, even going back to the Hero 2s 6-7 years ago, we're using 12 megapixel sensors, so it's got its room to make up there. It shoots 16 megapixel photos, which most new cameras do. Does not come with the case you need to buy, which is 40 meter depth waterproof casing. Coming with 0 accessories actually made this quite tricky to handhold. Immediately broke my rule number 1, never handhold a camera. For that amateur camera shake. So I ended up having to use this phone clip mount right here to hold the camera most of the time. What's remarkable about it is it has a full touch screen on the back. This actually sometimes was proving to be too sensitive when you throw your modes off with just a tap of the finger by accident. But it's got a working touchscreen. The Hero 2, 6 years ago, at 300 bucks, even more than this way back then, didn't have a touchscreen, had nothing to refer to your footage with. So that's pretty awesome right there. It's super simplistic to use. You're looking at just one button on the top for power and record. Everything else is touch on the back. It has all the same shooting modes as the GoPros and Sonys out there. Your time lapse, you can make this a looping camera to become a dash cam if you wanted to. It's that cheap, you could afford to buy it for just that purpose if you wanted to. It has Wi-Fi enabled, so up to 100 feet away you could send your footage to your phone, and the phone comes with a pretty cool app that gives you control to the camera, just like all the GoPros you'd expect. So you're getting a lot, you're pretty much getting everything in this tiny little package, minus a small sensor, which we're going to put to the test to see if it can duke out against the larger sensor cameras. Boom. Okay, so before we get into watching the footage, I'm just going to show you again a baseline clip of a Hero 2 Black GoPro from 2012 that was over $300 already with no touchscreen on the back. Bigger sensor in brackets because sensor size doesn't always matter to resolution size on screen, to resolution clarity I should say. So look at the clip, you're looking at it now, and that's the baseline. Again, for this guy being lesser resolution and lesser price, we're gonna get into it. I already explained the frames per second on the 4K isn't so great on this. You're gonna get kind of jittery. It'd be good for tripod sun lapse stuff. Something that's not moving too quick would be perfectly fine. But otherwise we're doing the 2.7K and the 1080p 60 frames per second comparison. And lastly, when I watch a lot of these reviews, you kind of see people getting into random comparisons on quality grades and stuff that you never actually really care about if you're truly just using a camera and editing and plopping it up onto your screen. So think about this, you'd never be watching a video at 500% zoom. You'd never be pausing video to compare side by sides anyway, right? And then you'd never be looking at histograms or waveforms of the color scheming and color quality. For the most part, all that doesn't matter. It just comes straight down to what does this look like when I'm watching it on the screen that I'm watching it on. Think about that.
Good boy. Oh yeah. Get it. Good boy.
Hello? So in closing, again, I would say the biggest argument for this is the sheer price. You could afford to screw up, crash, break it. You can get another one. You won't feel so bad. Sure, the footage might be 5% less or it might be slightly overpowered, but again, when it comes down to what screen you're watching it on, does it really make a difference for your first action cam? Comparing this being way cheaper than my first Heroes that were still triple the price and the quality they were giving out. I think it's a big consideration. I'd like to try it to 4K plus against the top GoPros. But now I have this as a junker camera and I could use it for whatever I want to in no fear of losing it or destroying it, which usually ends up the fate of most of my cams. And that about wraps it up for this video. Hope you guys like the side entertainment. As always, like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more reviews. Leave comments for suggestions on what you want to see. I love destroying this gear and equipment to put it to the test, so anything you can think of, send it my way, and stay tuned for the next video. See you guys. Cut.